Hello, hello, hello. This is Queen Mother Speaks, and I am Queen Mother. Welcome to the month of June, a beautiful time of year, and also a year that also a month that we like to honor our fathers. A little bit more on that in just a little bit. Thank you for tuning in. This is Queen Mother Speaks every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. Kenya time, 10 a.m. New York time, 7 a.m. California time. I have to say that because we do have some listeners tuning in from California, and they actually get up at 7 o'clock in the morning just so that they can watch the Queen Mother Speak show. So we say, welcome to you, and welcome to you. I invite you to stay aligned with your New Year's resolution and pay attention to wisdom words from the elders. Now, this is our second quarter of 2023, and we want to remind you that you are the one that you've been waiting for. I want to remind you that, yeah, in 2023, you're the one that you've been waiting for, and I want you to bring into thought I want you to bring into your focus that thought that you are who you've been waiting for. Okay. Now, I remember a lady by the name of Dr. Johnny Coleman. May she rest in peace. But she wrote a book that called It Works If You Work It. So, Queen Mother is here today to tell you that that's what you want to do. You want to work on your life. You want to take a look at what you decided in January that you want to do for the whole year. I'm just reminding you to go back to that which you know to be so in your life. And while you're at it, hit that like, share, comment button, right? We want to acknowledge today our co-host Nana Afua Adezawa, who is on leave. I also want to acknowledge that co-host Rakaya is traveling at this time, and we are expecting a guest co-host in the studio today. Let's see what happens with that. Let me take a moment and give a shout out to some of our followers. Charles Champ Walker, Eric Jabutu, Reverend Virginia Miller, Gail Rothstein, Radhika Desai, Rashida Walker, Daniel Ngugu, and James Harkness. If you may remember, James Harkness was on the show last year, and I hope we can get him back this year because even though he's in his 90s, he is still in theater, and we want to bring him back this year. All right. We want to give a drum roll right now. Can you hear that drum roll? Can you hear that drum roll? Well, that drum roll is there to tell us that we have in our studio today, again, we are expecting another guest co host. But right now, I want to open up the studio so you can see who's in the house today. All right. So, in the house today, we have our elder father, okay, Mr. Isaac. And of course, we have the celebrity writer, journalist, Lady Linda. They'll both be coming back to you in just a little bit, but I want to take this moment so they can at least greet the audience. Go ahead.
Greetings from Uganda to all our members of the audience.
All right. Linda?
And happy I'm in the Mother Queen speaks today. Oh, Queen Mother speaks today. I'm
Thank you.
changing the
Thank
other
you.
way around. Eh,
Linda?
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm happy to be here. I'm so elated. I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, yes. Linda
Yeah.
has quite a story to tell. All right. So thank you for that. As you know, again, we're moving from the month of May into the month of June, where we will be celebrating fathers every month, every week in the month of June. And today we'll be right back with who our guest father is today, and you're going to love him. He has such a life. He has such a story. So we want to remind you to go to our page, tell us who you are, where you're from, and tell us who would you like to see on the Queen Mother Speak Show? Who would you like to be here? Just send us their name and contact information. And of course, we will take it from there. All right, we also want to give a few more shout outs to out of Atlanta, Georgia. We have Lady Mo, Ambimbola, Tina Jones, Ernestine, Marie Powell, High Priestess Seyshot, Melissa Kemp, Carmen and Michelle. From Florida, tuning in, we have Geneva and Solo, our dear friends. We have Kathy King, Rosemary Johnson, and Marilyn Lewis. Okay. From the USA West Coast, those people I spoke about earlier who get up early in the morning to watch the Queen Mother's Speak Show, we want to give them a shout out. So we appreciate you. A shout out goes to Simkia, who tunes in from Hawaii. 14 hours. Our time difference is 14 hours. So she is getting up even before 7 a.m. Thank you, Simkia. We have Impingo, Councilman Farrell, Red, Adisa, and Kwashi from Los Angeles out of San Francisco, California. We have Tashmia, Nyla, Hakika, and Samantha. All right. So tell me, who's rocking it in your world right now? Send us the names and guests of people, again, that you like to see on the show, and we'll be happy to invite them in. This is Queen Mother Speaks. We want to invite you to continue to stay safe, not because the government says you should stay safe or not because the government says you should wash your hands, but we want you to do it because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. So we want to invite you to continue to wash your hands and continue to keep safe. Keep safe. Just keep safe. Queen Mother Speaks. It is a safe space for inspiration and expression. Also, on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., you can tune in to Bonga Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada Bonga Dada Bonga Dada Bonga. What is that? Well, it's a platform for women's voices. We also hear from men's voices. 7 o'clock Thursday evenings. Facebook.com/Bonga Dada Bonga. I want to also thank the Honorable Margaret Tolley, who's tuning in from Kenya, Rose Amora Anju, Jay Mwangi, Parita, Maurice Obuya, and Estelle, all friends, Queen Mother Speaks friends, tuning in from right here in Nairobi, Kenya. So, what is this thing that we call Queen Mother Speaks? Well, it is a community platform, okay? And we deal with issues that matter. We deal with those who are interested in expatriating to Africa. We like to inform. We like to ignite. We like to educate. We also bring you words of wisdom from the elders, as we will do today. And we also have just dialogue with wonderful guests. We bring you inspirations and we bring you words of wisdom. That's part of what you'll find always on the Queen Mother Speaks show. So now from the Art of Living Institute, back during pandemic, we had a class with them. And we learned in that class how to breathe. So right now, we're going to go into a breathing exercise. And the way it works is you're going to breathe in through your nose. Okay, we're going to breathe in to the count of 6, hold it to the count of 6, and release. And once you release, we'll release to the count of 10. And we're going to all do this together, including the guests in the studio. So we're going to do 3 breathings. So again, you breathe in through your nose to the count of 6. Hold, count of 6. Release to the count of 10, very slow. And when you release, you can release through your mouth. Are we ready? Okay, well, let's start. Okay, let's go. Breathe in. Hold. Okay, let's try it again. Breathe in to the count of 6. Hold. Release. Okay. Okay, we're going to try it once more. Breathe in, hold, and release. Thank you for participating in the breathing exercise with
Oh,
us. One of the
great.
things I've learned about breathing is that breathing can actually help you reduce stress. It really, really can. So we invite you to go online, look for the Art of Living Institute, find out where the classes are in your city, and get started. All right, all right. Thank you for that. Okay, so now in this moment, we're going to go to our meditation reading. And our meditation reading is taken from a little book called The Daily Thought, which is created and distributed by Hillside International Truth Center, which is the church that I attended when I was in America. Okay? So now, here we go for that meditation. Okay, looks like it is. I'm clicking on it. Unfortunately, it is not coming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read another meditation because I read meditations all the time. And here's the one that we're going to read for today. I create a vision for my way of life. I create a vision for my way of life. I create a vision for my way of life. Proverbs tell us where there is no vision, the people perish. This reminds us that we need dreams and goals to live our lives more fully. A vision for our lives helps us map out a course of action. Without a vision, we may be tossed and turned on the sea of life. Without a vision, we may reach destinations not of our choosing. Let me see if I've got a call coming, but I'm letting it go as we're on the inside of the meditation. What is your vision for your life? You can ask God for guidance in developing a vision for your own life. When you understand your purpose, then you can work toward your vision with more clarity. Isn't that true? I work towards the vision for my life each and every day. I know that when I pray, believing what I envision for my life, it manifests. I know my vision is not just for me, it is also a blessing for others. I know that my vision is not just for me, it is also a vision for others. Thank you, life, in me, as me, around me, through the Christ within, and so it is. Our scripture for today: commit your way to the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Psalms 37 and 5. Once again, our meditation for today was taken from the little booklet called Daily Thoughts from the Hill, produced by Hillside International Chapel and Truth Center, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. As for me, I love Hillside. It's my church in Atlanta when I'm on the other side of the globe. All right, but here we're attending a place called HOT, House of Transformation. We're going to talk about that a little bit more at another time. All right, so again, thank you for being with us for the meditation. Now that we're in the month of June, June is the ancient Roman goddess of marriage and childbirth. June is also the month, it's still a very popular month for weddings today. As a natural extension of marriage, Juno or June was also the goddess of childbirth. Another interpretation of the origin of the name June says that the name came from the Latin juvenis, which means young people. And they used to celebrate. Okay, so as we're in the month of June, let's give you a few celebrity birthdays this month. Marilyn Monroe, actress. Morgan Freeman, actor. Martha Washington, she was the first lady, the very first lady of the first ladies in the United States. King George V of England, Tony Curtis, actor. Curtis Mayfield, singer-songwriter. Okay, I think we've got the other person coming in now. We're just going to add them to the stream. Okay. Hello, Lillian.
Hello, Dr. Queen.
Very well. Now we're going to need you to do some adjustments so we can see you. Is it possible perhaps to pull your screen forward a bit towards you? Oh, you're on the phone, right?
Yes, I am just trying to struggle to see if I can adjust the screen a bit, but I'm not seeing anywhere.
Okay, well, I don't quite know what to tell you to do on the phone, but we cannot see your face properly because the light behind you, half of your face is light and the other half is dark. This is why we like to come in before showtime so we can have a little practice, but we're not seeing you properly.
I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Okay, being that you're using your phone, I don't know if you should hold it up or down because what we see is more ceiling than we do you.
I'm just trying to see what to do. It has been a struggle.
All right. Well, then we're gonna have to let that go so we can continue with the show. But let me take out a moment and say hello and thank you to all of our viewers and listeners into the Queen Mother Speak show. Thank you. And I know some of those guests are here from Mr. Isaac. So once again, thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in to the Queen Mother Speak show. Let's give you a few more celebrity birthdays in the month of June. Angelina Jolie, actress. Marion Wright Edelman, who is a children's right activist. We have Rocky Graziano, Tom Jones, who's a singer. Prince, who's also a singer. All right, those are just a few of the people born in the month of June. Let me give a few more fan mentions. Out of Dubai, we have Sarah Mercer and the girls tuning in to the Queen Mother Speak show from Dubai. We have Dr. Willie Butler from Louisiana, Professor Al Gaskins out of Ohio, Brother Chess and Lila tuning in from New York City. Hey, hey, hey. Just want to remind you once again, hit that like, share, comment button. And I want to thank those of you who have taken time to give us comments from time to time. I will also say to you that I don't get to answer them as often as I would like to, but we're working on that so we can get back to answering your questions sooner than later. Okay, looks like Lillian dropped off and it's time for her to speak. So we're just going to go ahead. She was going to bring the part that talks about Father's Day. Um, okay, she dropped off. So Father's Day celebrates and honors the men who have embraced the essential role of fatherhood. On this day, we also thank fathers as well as father figures who could be uncles, grandfathers, neighbors, cousins, friends. We thank all of them for the sacrifices they make for embracing the responsibility of nurturing and raising children. We also thank them for the devotion that they have to their families. And I want to take time out right now and just thank men in my family. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge my great grandfather. I want to acknowledge my great grandfather. And I want to acknowledge my father. I also want to acknowledge my brothers. I have 4 of them. We acknowledge all of them as well. Okay, Lillian is coming back into the stream. Thank you, dear. We'll be with you. So now, do you want to talk to us, Lillian, on the part about fathers?
Yeah, good evening, teams. Good evening, Dr. King.
Good evening.
Good evening, Linda. Good evening, Canon Isaac Anguyo.
How are you?
Thank you.
It's a beautiful
right.
day. I must start with the apologies for the network on my side is very bad. but I will catch up with you. Yes, as you've heard, my name is Lillian Grace, and I am a Ugandan by nationality, a fan of Queen Mother Speak. I just want to say this day has been a grateful day.
Haha.
Our fathers are very inspirational to our life. One, I am born of a Muslim family, and the way my father has stood with us, even when my mother has not been time conscious with us, my father has remained our father. I see the
Uh-huh.
benefit of a father.
Mhm.
The reason why I say fathers are very important, we have to celebrate them, be it they are single parents, be it they're in marriage, they always take responsibility over their accountability of upbringing their family, especially where they are legal children and illegally children. And so I value my father so much, and I value my mentors who are my fathers. And that's why Father's Day is very important. Canon Anguyo happens to be also a mentally father to me, and many other fathers who have been on my side. They have mentored me through the journey of teenagehood. They have
Mhm.
mentored me through the spiritual stage, and they have mentored me through the educational ground. This is all a hand of a man in my life. So I
Hallelujah.
always value fathers. Hello?
All right. Yes, we're listening.
Yes, yes. And so any man who has come in my life has been always a role model in my life. I have started seeing a life of a man in my life from a secondary school where the boys were holding my hands to journey for the future and telling me about how the future demands out of me. It's about passion, it's about integrity, and it is about focus. And these were the voices of a man in my life. And so when you look at the parents, they still give you the same background of integrity, values, principles. And so they want the best for you, even when they are not there in your life. They want the best for you. So Father's Day is very important for us to celebrate and to remember, because these are the patriarchy families who are headed by fathers. And so we value them, we adore them, and we are so grateful about their lives.
Very well. Thank you for that. And there's just a little bit more that I'd like to add to the plate in talking about fathers. We want to say that the first known Father's Day occurred in West Virginia in 1908. And this was after about 100 men had died in a mining accident in America. And so the daughter
Mm,
of one of the men who died in the accident was missing her dad, right? And she wanted to honor him. So she's actually
mm,
credited with being the person who brought the idea of Father's Day into being, okay? Because her father,
yeah.
along with others, was killed in an explosion, okay? However, from there, we did get some widespread support for the idea of Father's Day, but it did not become a permanent holiday for many, many, many years. There was a bill passed in Congress in 1913, didn't pass. That was under President Woodrow Wilson. However, in the year 1966, under President Lyndon Johnson, he issued a proclamation designating the third Sunday in June to honor fathers. So, therefore, it has come to be that on the third Sunday in June is when we honor fathers. And again, this was brought into focus and by proclamation by President Lyndon Johnson. Okay, one other thing I want to say is that in 1972, President Richard Nixon signed a law declaring that Father's Day would be celebrated annually. And it's been an official permanent holiday ever since that happened. All right. So now, isn't Father's Day quite different from Mother's Day? It is. It took a while for people to even decide that they wanted to even
Mother's
have
Day.
Father's Day. Yeah, but Mother's Day
Yes.
came about quickly and quickly and quickly. All right. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. We wanted to talk a little bit about the origin of Father's Day because right now we're getting ready to introduce our guest father in the house. And he's going to be introduced to us by none other than Lillian. Let me say a little bit more to you about Lillian. Lillian, in fact, is one of my former students. I've also adopted her as my daughter. Even though she's over there in Uganda, we love her very much. And we like for her to come into Kenya as often as she can. And we want her to learn about this programming. We want her to learn also how it's done so that if she chooses to take it up for herself, she can. I found her to be a very aggressive student, a student like a sponge. She was just ready for knowledge. I mean, she came every day. She was just soaking all the knowledge in. As much as I could give her, she would take. So that's why, even to this day, she has graduated from the university. She is still in my life, and I am still in her life. I honor you, Lillian, and I thank you today for being on the Queen Mother Speak show. And I am deeply indebted to you for the introduction that you're about to give to us for this wonderful gentleman. Are you ready, Lillian?
Yes, Dr. King, I'm very ready.
All right, here we go. Bring it on.
Yes, I am ready for you this evening. Queen Mother Speak Show. Canon Isaac Anguyo, I must upload his gratitude for accepting to be in our family today. That is one
Yes,
thing.
thank you.
Canon Isaac is a man whom I met in fully 2017. At that particular time, Canon Isaac was seated in a very luxurious Chinese restaurant and planning to have a preparation. And so when he's found me, I was also on Skype with Queen Mother Speak. This was the funniest. Mama, that was the time when I was with you on the Skype.
I
And
see.
so we were
Okay.
having a chat about how I am settling in Uganda.
Yes, okay.
And so Canon Isaac was admiring me in this restaurant. And so he quickly, when he saw I had finished in talking, and he said, "Excuse me, can I have a word with you?" And I immediately accepted to have a word with him. And he says, "I am preparing media families. I work with media families, and I'm preparing media families as a person who is going to celebrate the bishop's consecration. Would you like to join us?" And
Wow.
I quickly said, "Yes, please." And that evening, he was having a meeting with the different media families. And that is when I started digging deeper about who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I came to find out Canon Isaac is a man of enthusiasm, integrity, a man of principle, a man on time, and target oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And so as time goes by, in this event, I got to learn that Canon Isaac was a director of a media family. Here is life. And as
Mm-hmm.
he pursues his Christian activity, I got to learn deeper that he was also a director and a lecturer in a
Mm-hmm.
co-principal a school of teachers. And furthermore, I got to learn he is one of the board or the synod chairperson to the diocese who loves God, and he's a
Mm-hmm.
God-fearing man.
Mm-hmm.
And Father, I came to learn he is a fathers union member and where he is leading marriages of families and team leading parents, team leading fathers union in his church or in his parish. Little did I know that he is a man of different kind of children, biological, adopted, mentored
Mm.
through schools,
Wow.
through churches, through other places. He has a family that is
Mm.
so expanded with adopted children. And little did I know he is a man who has been devoted to his marriage for the last 50 years in his golden jubilee. And so I will speak more and more about Canon Isaac. And as the time goes by, he deserves to give us more about what makes him really passionate about this day of a Father's Day because he deserves a role model award. Because for a father to own children from different parts of the places, and he was from a Muslim background family. And it is not
Mm.
easy to accept a Christian family. It is not easy to bring children from back from Muslim family. And he is in fact an activist trying to role model the Muslim
Mm-hmm.
community to understand it is not about religion, but we need to honor God. And he advocates so much to the Muslim communities, both where he comes from and where he is right now in Arua city. And he is a passionate man about his dreams. And he reads books. Oh my God. He's like you, Mama Queen. He reads
Uh-huh.
books over
Ah,
books. His
I
library
see.
is so expanded with books, and
Wow.
he's a technical person who
Uh-huh.
links up so much with the outside world. He has
Mm.
links, he coordinates, he connects, he has a diversity of communications. And you get surprised to hear people from America, from here. He is speaking and writing books. He writes about histories of someone, and he's
Mm-hmm.
very passionate. I would have spoken and spoken, but this is his time to tell us how much what motivates him to be in this field as a father. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Queen Mother, speak. Lillian is off to you.
All right. We'll hear from you. We'll hear from you, Mr. Isaac. So, Lillian, thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I will say to our audience that I had asked him for his CV, okay, which he did send, and it gave things that was happening in his life, but it really didn't tell me any background. And I was going to call him on the phone and just have a conversation so that I could have more to say. And don't you know, being the wise man that he is, what he did without even, he says, listen, I know I got to send you more. And he just right
Yes,
away sent me the part that I didn't have. And ladies and gentlemen, I will say to you that in reading about Mr. Isaac and reading about him, I want you to know it touched my heart when I read his story. Here's a man who went from one religion to another, and he got persecuted by his family, by his community, by friends, by neighbors. But he made that choice to make the change. And then, even after he made the choice to make the change, he
yes,
decided to stay with Christianity at that point. And so that's kind of like what he's been doing now. He didn't move away from his Muslim faith because he recognizes that there are certain principles that work across the board. So without further ado, we're going to ask you to come in, Mr. Isaac. And I think the very first question we want to ask you, if you don't mind, is about your change from one to the other, from one religion to the other. Tell us about that.
Well, in Islam, we say, Inshallah, the will of God be done. I wasn't changing religion, but I was building a relationship with God. And
Mm-hmm.
that relationship is through Jesus Christ. And that is what I did. That is why I kept my father's name Jaffa. Jaffa is a Arabic name, but so have remained in that relationship with my God
Mm-hmm.
and relationship with my family, who are mainly Muslims.
Okay, very well. Is there a story behind your name or your father's name?
Well, now my father's name Jaffa is in Arabic. Up to now, I've not tried to find out what that means, and I don't want to. I think I'm interested in the sound Jaffa. But my father's family name is Ibagi, a bag
Mm-hmm.
which you are not using. Bag meant my mother, my grandmother lost other children. So he said, this one is also going to go. And then my name, Isaac, Isaac, I got it when I became a Christian. When I was a Muslim, I was called Isa. When I became a Christian, I chose the name Isaac. And there is a
Mm-hmm.
reason, because when Abraham decided to sacrifice Isaac, of course, Muslims will not just say his son, but the Bible is very clear that was Isaac, and I think as ready to be sacrificed for the Lord to do his work. That's why I chose that
Mm-hmm.
name. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Anguyo is means no land. And I
Uh-huh.
came to appreciate that on this earth I don't have land. My land is stay in
Mm-hmm.
heaven. But
Okay.
meanwhile, here on the earth, I must
Mm-hmm.
work to visit that land.
I see. I see. Can you share with us one of your most, I don't know if I want to say important or, yeah, share with us one of your most important lessons that you learned from your father?
Well, now I learned, let me say that I will talk both my father and my mother. From my
Okay.
father, I learned one big lesson that he used to tell us, my life is not in the hands of anybody. And that made him not to fear. He didn't fear witchcraft, he didn't fear curses, and he was a very brave man. My
Mm.
life is not in the hands of anybody. Who is my mother? My mother looked after us. And that's one thing she used to say, don't envy people for their things. God will give you things in future. And
Uh-huh.
indeed, I stuck to her word, and the Lord gave me a lot of blessings. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm really thankful for her word.
Mm-hmm.
That don't envy anybody for anything. God will give you things in the future. And we worked for that future. And God blessed us with my family.
Uh-huh.
You can count
Very
the
good.
blessing. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right, we're going to come back to you, but I just want to ask what life advice would you pass on to the young people today?
Well, I would still pass what my father taught me by what she did, what he said, and also what my mother said. One is be courageous. Don't let anybody control your life other than God, and be
Mhm.
principled. Then my mother, don't envy anybody. Today, many young people want to drive cars, modern houses. They see one thing from anybody, they want to get it at all costs. But my
Mhm.
mother was very clear. You wait for your time.
Ah, very well, very well. Thank you for sharing these words of wisdom and these pearls with us. Mr. Isaac, I'm actually going to have you back on the show because when I read all of the things you've done in life, I really want to talk to you about some of those things so that some of our young people listening see you got involved with radio and you didn't have any background in radio, but you did it because you trusted the person that God had sent to you. So you didn't have to trust that person, but you did.
No,
And in so doing, it gave you a new life. You started doing new things in life. So I want to explore that further because I want young people to hear how even though you may not know how to do something, if you're willing to listen, if you're willing to put in the time, you can get a new craft, a new skill, which is what he did. So I want to hear about that story because I know a lot of young people are trying to get into media today or into social media, but I want to hear your story. So we'd like to invite you back for the rest of that story.
Well, can I tell you now?
Well, actually, we've got another guest in the studio. We want to go to the next guest today,
Yes.
and then we'll
Uh,
bring you back another day.
okay, another day. Okay, that's
All
fine.
right. All right.
Yeah.
After having said that, recently while I was here in Nairobi, I got a chance to meet the young lady by the name of Linda Frank Raphael. Now, those names, Linda Frank Raphael, what a beautiful name. And
Mm,
this young lady has been in journalism. She studied locally in Kenya, and somehow I don't know if she really studied to be in this particular field. She studied journalism, but she's doing something a little different. You see, in today's world, our people are really learning how to be more innovative, which is part of what she's done. But she's with us here today as a celebrity blogger. She tells stories on what's happening in the world, and not just in Hollywood, Bollywood, Kenya wood, Nigeria wood, Ghana wood, you name them all. She's giving reports on what's happening with various celebrities, and actually, she's giving a lot on what's going on in Kenya. So, Miss Linda, we invite you into the Queen Mother Speak studio today, and today we want to talk about a friend of ours who passed away recently. Linda's going to tell you a little bit about him, and we're going to have an interview. And she and I have not rehearsed anything in advance. So this is a brand new interview that we're about to have. Linda? Linda, go ahead. Linda? Linda? Hello? Linda? Can you hear me,
Okay,
Linda?
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now that you're speaking.
Yes. So we are going to have a short interview on Linda Frank Raphael's segment concerning Jim Brown. And first of all, Queen Mother, the reason why I'd like to do this interview with you is because I believe you know Jim Brown or you knew Jim Brown in person. And
Yes.
because of his unfortunate demise, many things came up. But I just felt we need to clarify a few things so
Linda's screen is frozen at the moment. Hang on, she'll be back. She's back right now. Linda.
yeah, so I said you knew Jim Brown in person. So we'd like to know a
Yes.
few things about how that happened. And I prepared a few questions for you. I hope they're not going to be too much.
Okay.
How did you get to California and what did you do there?
I didn't hear the first part of your question.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you now.
Yes, Linda, I can hear you. If you get to California, what did you? That's for Dr. King.
Can you guys hear
Oh, so
me?
you okay, we can hear
Yes, we
you. So
can
you
hear
ask
you.
okay, so you're asking me how did I get to California and what did I
Yes,
do? All
yes.
right. I went to California to go to UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. I was working on my master's degree and I applied to receive further training at USIU. I was accepted by UCLA, which is a major university. So that's how I actually got into California.
Ah, okay. So what was it like living over there in Hollywood?
What?
What was it like living in Hollywood?
Wow. Well, quite a few things. First off, the weather in Los Angeles is very similar to the weather in parts of Africa. Kenya, Ghana, Uganda. It's always nice and hot. There's a lot of shrubbery, a lot of greenery like you see in Africa, palm trees. Of course, we have the Pacific Ocean, and there's always a breeze happening through the city. So these were the kinds of things that I liked about California, okay, as a state. And as for the people, they were different than the people in New York, and they were different than the people in Atlanta and in the Carolinas. They seemed to be a lot more carefree, just a lot more carefree than we were in some of the other areas. And I thought that was different. I also noticed in California that for whatever reason, the people like to just wear swimsuits all the time or walk around in little or no clothes, and it was very acceptable.
So they normalized working in their birthday suits.
Walking, they wearing swimsuits, or what do we call them? The Daisy Dukes. I mean, I don't know. They just didn't have an appetite for a lot of clothing.
I heard that before. Okay, so the next question is, were you involved in movies while you were in Hollywood?
Well, actually, I do. I don't talk about my career in movies, but I do have a career in movies. I mean, the typical story, a woman sitting in a restaurant with her friends, and a guy walks over and talks to you and give you a card and tell you that he's a producer and he'd like for you to give him a call, which I did
Hmm.
do. And it turned out that the person was a real producer. Now, a lot of people tell you that story and they ain't produced crap and they don't know anything about crap. But luckily for me, this particular person was doing work in the movie industry, and I was able to get a part several times as a, we call them an extra, where you go in for a day and you just kind of like be in a scene activity. So we wound up doing a lot of that, and eventually I did get a role in in a movie, which was called, oh, I did Car Wash. I don't know, you all may not remember that, but I was in a movie called Car Wash. I was in Let's Do It Again. I was in Sparkle. Okay, those are three major ones, movies that I was in. So yeah, I got a chance to act in Hollywood a bit, and I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I was enrolled as a student at UCLA as a student at the university. So of course, my studies were much more important to me than the roles that I would get. But it was nice to get roles here and there because it was good money.
Okay, so yeah, that's a nice one. But now on to today's topic. Actually, I
Okay.
just wanted us to have a little background info about you, how you got to California, how living experience was there, and what you got involved into, of which you just told us now. But now, how did you meet Jim Brown, the legend?
Okay, well, I met Jim Brown through a guy by the name of Don King. Don King is a boxing promoter. And at one point, he was promoting the Ali Foreman fight in Kinshasa, Zaire. Kinshasa, Zaire is now the DRC. They've changed the name, but at the time it was Kinshasa, Zaire. So how did I get involved? They had a contest for a Miss Foreman, Miss Ali, and they said the winner was going to get a chance to go to Africa. Well, I wanted to go to Africa. And so I applied for that contest to be a Miss Foreman, Miss Ali, because it means I would get a trip to Africa. I applied to be a part of that contest, and I wound up winning the contest. It was my first and only contest in my life. I really joined the contest because I wanted to meet Ali and I wanted to go to Africa. Looks like Linda's screen is frozen for a moment, but I'm sure she'll be right back with the next question.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. So, after James Brown's passing, people have been talking about him so much. People have been writing about him so much, but we would like to have a first-hand information from you, knowing him to be a greatest footballer. And he actually played this from 1957 to 1965. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So, what do you have to tell us about his sporting record as his closest friend?
Okay, well, again, I met Jim during the Ali Foreman fight. He was one of the celebrities involved with the event. And a lot of activities that we would hold in California around the Ali Foreman fight was actually held at Jim's home. He lived in a very expansive and beautiful mansion in the Hollywood Hills. And a lot of events were held at his home. So now when I met him, he was out of football and now into the acting arena.
Ah,
So as
okay.
I stated, I met a gentleman who was a movie producer. He also
Mm.
knew Jim, and we wound up meeting to talk about various movies. We did a lot of hanging out and having fun more than anything. All right. But some of the things I do remember about Jim being that I am from a family who is very heavily involved with civil rights. I was very happy to find out that he too was involved in civil rights and would do what he could for civil rights in whatever city or state he may have been in. So that was one of the things I liked about him. We could talk about civil rights. We could talk about civil rights leaders. He knew what I was talking about, and he knew what their strong points were. And he had definite ideas and views about what should be done to make America better. Hello?
Yes, we are not hearing anymore. I thought you're continuing. Are you done?
No. What you want me to speak more?
You were still telling me something sweet, and I was enjoying it.
Okay. All right. So again, I got to meet Jim during the Ali Foreman fight. But I will tell you the encounter I had with him that made a difference in my life moving forward. Being the young woman that I was, and reading in the newspaper about the mighty Jim Brown and all the things that he had done, I also read about some of the things he did that I didn't think were so nice. Okay. For example, we all have read about his escapades with women.
I was just
Okay.
about to ask that.
So when I met him, I asked him, I probably should not have, but I did. I asked him if what I had been reading in the newspapers about him was true. And he wanted to know, what were you reading? Well, it talked about you and mishandling women. And I want to know if that's true. I want to know, Jim, did you really throw that lady off the balcony? Okay. So he asked me, first thing he said, he asked me, what is your name? This is for when I'm first meeting him. And then he asked me, do I believe everything that I read? And I said, yes. And he said, well, you got a lot to learn because everything you read in black and white is not true. So if you really want to get to know me, then you should follow me. You should hang out with me. And I took him up on his offer. I decided to hang out with him. And in so doing, I got a chance to visit his gorgeous home and enjoyed a lot of parties in between.
Living the life you like and the life you love.
Yes. Yes.
So how long exactly can you say you have known him for? Like how many years? Because you said you
Okay,
met
I've
him
never
when
actually thought about the years, but I can tell you exactly the year I met him was 1974. Now, I had seen him before at events, but I didn't know him and I couldn't go up to him and say hello or anything. But it was in 1974 during the Ali Foreman fight that I actually got to meet Jim. And I want to say to
Mhm.
you, the fact that he said to me, everything you read in black and white is not true. He was telling me you have to do your research because everything you read is not necessarily true.
Mhm.
That was the
Exactly.
first time anybody had ever said something like that to me.
So when you decided
And
to follow him, he asked you to follow.
yeah,
What was your relationship with him like?
well, he saw
Wa-
me as like a baby girl, a baby sister.
Was he
And
disrespectful
he
at some?
liked the fact, pardon?
Was he disrespectful at some point?
Never,
Never.
never had any disrespect from Jim. None, ever.
So if
I
you were
think
to be,
that he liked the fact that when they chose a winner for the Ali Foreman fight, now let me back up a moment and say that there was a contest for the Miss Foreman, Miss Ali. And me, I'm not contest material. I've never entered a contest, but I simply went because I wanted to meet Ali. Okay. And I wanted a chance to go to Africa if I could. So that was my reason for getting involved. And there were a lot of stars around, of which Jim was one of them. He was also one of the judges for deciding who was going to be the contest winner. Okay. So most of the women there were women who were in media, in modeling, and they knew how to dress, they knew how to act, they knew how to walk, they knew how to be. I I didn't have a portfolio. I was just there to meet Ali. Okay. So when they asked me to display a talent, I danced. And when they talked about the fight in Africa, what did I think about it? Because I was a student of African studies at UCLA, and at the time, UCLA was the number one institution in America for studying about Africa. So I was in the right place at UCLA. Okay. And so there we were. I entered that contest, and because I was a student of African studies, when they asked me questions about Africa, I could answer because I was a student. They wanted to know what did I think about Mobutu Sese Seko, who was the president of Zaire at the time. But because I was in African studies, I could talk about policies between America and Zaire. I could talk about before Mobutu came into office. Okay. So I think, and this is just me, I think I wound up winning the contest because I had more knowledge than the other contestants. I was
okay.
a university student at UCLA, a top prestigious university in the country. And there I was entering a contest, not for the same reason as the other people. I was entering it just to meet Ali and go to Africa. I wasn't trying to build my career in modeling or anything like that.
Okay. So in your interactions with Jim,
Um,
when you met, you
can I come
became
in? We are Linda.
I'm saying, can
We
you
are
hear me?
having echo at the background. The information double.
Well, that
Can you
means someone has to turn off they have to mute their phones and turn off any radio
Yeah,
or other
thank you.
electronics in the background. Is that better?
can you,
Yeah,
can you
that's
still
better.
hear? Okay. So what I'm saying, uh, when you met Jim, you became buddies and you guys were hanging out together and all that. Did he at any time display any violence with someone else? Not necessarily you, because you're already his friend. We can say that. Or anybody around you, did you ever see him displaying violence? The reason why I'm asking you this is because after his demise, I did some research, and there's this obituary that was written by Richard Goldstein in the New York Times, and what he said was that his name was tarnished with accusations of violence and bad conduct against women. So, was he ever violent or displayed violence in your presence?
Never violent in my presence. In fact, I remember in the front, yeah, front part of Jim's house in the yard was a basketball court, and young people not from the community, because he lived in Hollywood Hills, but young people that they would bring up from the community would come up so they could get a chance to hang out and play with him. I know him that way. I know him with the NAACP when they were trying to have events, helping them to do some of the things that they were trying to do or invite guests to come to the various events. I didn't know him to be violent in any way.
Okay, so now that we know you've had your own share of mingling with celebrities, I'd like to ask you, what do you normally do when you see a celebrity?
Well, it depends. If it's somebody I know and there's a clear path to go and say hello, I will. If it's someone that I don't know and I want an autograph or I want to say hello, I'll do like everybody else. I'll try to wiggle my way in, okay, to get to say hello.
Ah,
But
okay.
sometimes I just stand back and I just blow a kiss. And believe it or not, people get to see it.
Ah, okay.
So not in every case, but in some cases.
I see.
Okay. Yeah.
So, in a few words, how will Jim be remembered according to a close friend like you? How do you think Jim Brown will be remembered now that he's gone?
I saw Jim as a strong man. I saw Jim as a man of his word. I saw Jim as a man who liked to have fun, liked to eat good foods, also liked to take care of his body. But he was concerned about what was happening in the Black community, and he was concerned about civil rights. And because I have a civil rights background, we could relate in talking about civil rights activities or even partnering together to do activities in Los Angeles. Because believe you me, there was a Hollywood NAACP branch and others. So I just saw him as a man who had principles. Now, the part about him and the women and all that, I don't know where that stemmed from. I don't know where it came from, but I didn't know any violence at the time that Jim was my friend. I will also tell you, the Queen Mother eventually became a boxing manager. I was the first licensed female boxing manager in America. My hands are licensed as weapons because I learned also how to use them. So he never had any reason to come after me. But if he had, he would have found something. He would have been met by a swinging left jab.
Okay.
Okay, looks like Linda has come off, but we're gonna. Oh, she's coming back in, but we're gonna. Oh, let's see. Let's see.
Can we have
Looks like
this? When are we having this?
yeah. If you need to leave, Mr. Isaac, go right ahead. We've
Hey,
enjoyed having you on the show. Lillian, would you like to bid him goodbye? I think he has another appointment.
well, thank you
Yes.
very much for having me, and I wait for another time. God
Oh,
bless
we
you.
will have another time. And let me also say that's a gorgeous shirt that you're wearing.
This was brought by our son from Ghana.
Aha. Well,
This
I
is
mentioned it
Kenyan
because
tree.
I do know Ghana fabrics and I do know Ghana
Yeah,
designs. It's lovely on you.
yeah.
You're looking very handsome. Thank you
I
for being
can
on the
see
Queen
them
Mother
at the
Show.
background.
We
Yeah.
will have you back again. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. God bless
Blessing.
you.
Thank you.
Blessing.
Thank you, Canon, for accepting and for being in the show. We look
Thank
forward
you.
seeing you again.
Indeed,
Thank
we
you.
Amen.
will.
Amen.
All right. Okay.
I
Oh,
hope
so
you
we got
did
one
enjoy.
more lady. So, yeah, Linda, I didn't know him to be a violent man at all. He was fun.
Um, okay. So I was just asking you, did Jim inspire you to start standing up for women voices? Because I know you're passionate about that.
Yes, well, actually, I don't think at that juncture in my life that I would say that he inspired me to speak to women. What he did inspire me to do was to be more careful in my research. And when I state something, to be certain that I have all my facts. That was one good thing that I learned from him. Another thing I learned was that we have to be involved. We can't just sit back and act like nothing is affecting us. We have to become involved in what's going on the way he did. Then at some point, he started an organization called America I Can, where he began to work with, what do you call them, gangs. Okay, there were a lot of gangs in America, and there still are. But Jim was very active in getting involved with them and trying to teach principles and concepts to them about life and living and people. And he would even have them meeting in his house. He was not afraid of them, and they were
Mm.
not afraid of him.
Okay. So I know that Jim's wife's name was Monique Brown. Did you know her?
Linda's screen has become frozen. She'll be back with us in just a moment. There she is.
I said Jim Brown's wife. I learned that her name was Monique Brown. Did you know her in person?
I did not know Monique. At whatever point that he hooked up with her, Queen Mother was probably already living in Africa by then, because I didn't meet her.
So how long have you been in Africa, Queen Mother?
Aha, interesting. My first trip to Africa was in 1974 with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman
Sorry?
for the Rumble in the Jungle. And I've been coming back and forth ever since. I normally get a contract and I'll be in a country anywhere from 2 to 3 to 5 to 7 years. I've now been in Kenya a, a decade of years.
Okay. So can you just, we are just wrapping up with our last question. Can you
Yes?
just tell us a little bit about yourself? Queen Mother,
Yes, I didn't hear the question.
I said this is our last question. We are wrapping up.
Okay.
Can you kindly describe Jim Brown in 3 words?
Tall, dark,
Don't.
and handsome. Yes. Yes.
God, are you guys serious? Queen Mother,
Tall, dark, and handsome.
tall,
What? Tall, dark, and handsome.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
You are so-
you guys are
the last thing
cracking
I
up.
expected to hear.
Thanks again, Mama Queen.
Thank you. Linda is still laughing about that.
That was the last thing I expected to hear. You're so humorous.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Linda. We'll have you back as we cover celebrity blogs of people around the world. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of Kenyan celebrities that a lot of people don't know about yet, but I do want you to be coming on the show and introducing us to them, not only in the Kenyan market, but other African markets as well. Okay? I want to thank you all once again for tuning in to Queen Mother Speaks every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. And if there is someone that you want on the show, just send us their name and information. You can send that to queenmotherspeaks@gmail.com. Once again, queenmotherspeaks@gmail.com. We're going to end the show as we always do, and we end the show with love. And the way we do that is we blow a kiss with our left hand, we blow a kiss with our right hand, and then we use both hands and blow a kiss. Ladies, are you ready? Let's send love into the world. I've been told and I believe that love is the most healing force in the universe. So let us right now center ourselves and let's send some love into the world. Are you ready? Left hand. Come on. Come on. Come on, Lillian. Come on. Everybody. Linda. Linda, I don't see your hand. Her screen is frozen again.
Linda
Let's do
is
the first
frozen
kiss.
already.
Okay, let's do the right hand. Okay, now let's do both hands. And what I want you to get as we're doing this is this really is love that we're sending into the universe. So do it with your heart, knowing that someone out there will receive it and it'll do them a lot of good. Let's do our final kiss into the universe. Let's go. Both hands. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Queen Mother Speaks every Wednesday, every week, live at 5. Come visit us again. We'll see you on next week. And we will have another father figure to give you words of wisdom. Queen Mother, signing out.